I'm going to be going over the very basics of where you should be smoking, and then just the most common smoke agents you should be using on every map in Valorant. The first map that we're going to start on is Ascent, and I'll be going between the halves, so I'll start with attack smokes and then I'll go to defense smokes. So for Ascent, I would recommend playing Omen. As you can see, the reason I say that is because his TPs are really good and lets you get into spots that are uncommon, as well as his blind. Mainly you're using it for his blind because his blind covers such a big area of the map when you throw it. Where you should be smoking on B when you're hitting a site is you're going to be smoking either CT first, and then you're going to be smoking market. You want to make sure that the edges are not protruding, is what everybody says, but make sure the edges aren't protruding so they can't just walk out the smoke and isolate fights. You do want to smoke CT first when you're playing Omen, just because this is the first engagements you'll take when you start entering the site. Now for mid, you're going to be putting one on top of here on cat. Typically you want it to be more outwards, because if you put it more inwards, for example, say like it stops right on this line right here, then they can peek from the front of the smoke, and so that could mess up your crosshair placement. So if you put it out wide a little bit, then it just helps your crosshair placement. They have to peek left and then they can run into your crosshair. Now for arches, you can smoke like this as well. Typically people would say smoke on the edge, like on this line, but the reason you don't want to do that is because you don't want to give the defense this angle right here. As you can see, I kind of give it to him. You want to be a little more outward, because if you smoke this area, you're going to be typically taking cat, and you don't want them to sit on this angle and get free picks over here. And then the last mid smoke that you're gonna throw for like a B split is you're going to be throwing this smoke right here. And then when you hit the B, then you'll smoke CT as well. You want to throw the smoke so the people in spawn just don't shoot you while you're taking market and splitting into B. For A, it is incredibly simple as well. You're just going to be smoking tree first. Tree is going to be the first spot you take an engagement when you're hitting the site, and then you're going to be taking heaven, or smoking heaven, I mean. Look it to the left, that should be perfectly fine. You can maybe do it outward sometimes, it just depends on what you want to do, but just make sure it's not protruding much, and that should be it. Now since we're on A, for defense, the basic smoke, as you know, should just be in main. Make sure the edges aren't protruding, and making sure that your edges aren't protruding on defense is incredibly important. Say for example you smoke like this, then your the enemy duelist can like peek out right here, and you're not and then this person, like say for example you're on defense and you're sitting in this corner, he cannot see this guy, and then the guy dies for free. Oh, and then another smoke I forgot is, say you're hitting tree, then you want to smoke this area, but typically you're not going to smoke it because you'll have like a cypher or a jet, and the jet will smoke this off. There's also one more smoke you can do. There's a site smoke. You're going to want to put the smoke in the middle right here. This is just so you can connect these two areas and have this entire backside space to yourself, and be able to play around and try and get picks like that. And then the last defense smoke on A that you're gonna throw is a one-way. Typically if you want to fight A or hold the space A, then you're gonna want to throw this smoke. When you throw the smoke on Omen and you want to do the one-way, you want to make sure that, like as you can see at the bottom, there's little tendrils where it connects to the floor. You're gonna want to line up the smoke with the bottom of that, and then you want to throw it. Mess it up, but as you can see, line the bottom with the tendrils a little bit, throw it, and there should be a perfect one-way. They shouldn't be able to see your feet either. For mid is really simple. If they are hitting through mid, then you can either smoke here. A lot of people will smoke here as well. They can disrespect this smoke at the bottom if you're not ready, and if they take that timing, then you kind of just wasted the smoke. So putting it here is a bit safer, just because they can't get to this space as quickly or disrespect it. And then on B, you're just going to want to smoke the main, of course, no protruding edge. And then the site smoke you're going to want to throw is right here if you are playing site. The reason that is as you can see, they have to wide swing this area, and it's just easier for you to fight this. Same over here. Say for example you're playing around the smoke and they wide swing over on the right side, then the people right here, you can fight them for free, and the guys on the right can't see you. So for Haven, we're going to start on Haven on attack, of course. Now the most recommended agent that you want to use is probably Omen, but any of them are fine. Just not Harbor and Viper, solo controller anyway. For Omen, you know, it's the same reason as Ascent. The blind is just broken. This blind is insane. So the smokes you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do Garage, and then you're going gonna want to do CT. You want to do garage first on Omen because this is the first initial contact, and then you're going to want to do CT. You want to do this smoke so they don't disrespect the CT smoke right here. Peek your teammates as you're trying to take back site space, say like a Jet does that, and you just don't want that happening, and their retake is easier. See, you can just easily peek through the smoke, Jet dash away. That's all for C. You don't really want to throw one way right here, and you just want to use those two smokes, and that should take you as far as you need. Now for mid and everything, say you're C splitting, then you're gonna want to smoke window, of course. And then if you're hitting B, you can do C link and A link, like the default smokes. Or say if you're on like an eco and really need to plant, you can do this smoke as well. This smoke is perfectly fine to get you to plant. And then say you're using, even if you're not on an eco and say you're playing off of Sova drone or Sova ult, then you can plant right there, use that smoke, and then play off Sova ult and off of like delay util. The smokes you're going to want to use, say you're playing with a really coordinated team, you can throw this long smoke. This long smoke is to apply pressure on the defense so they fight through the smoke, use their util, and are scared of the options that you may have. You know, you bait some util here and then you start pivoting somewhere else, or you just make no noise and then re-hit A. Other than that, you're going to want to smoke heaven first. Smoke heaven first, and then you want to smoke CT as well. Do the same smoke CT as you do on C for the same reasons. You don't want a Jet just peeking out, taking out the guy on short, and disrespecting the smoke. You can do this smoke when you have the site and are holding, but I would just recommend smoking heaven instead on the refresh. Or the smokes on defense that you want to throw is you want to smoke here on C, on A long, right? Like as you can see, no protruding edges, they come out, you spray them. And then you want to smoke right here on for short. The reason you want to do this is because it makes your retake on defense a lot easier. As you can see, it blocks off not only short, it also blocks off this angle that a lot of people play off of contacts. To eliminate that, you can easily isolate these fights in graffiti, and it just allows you to take this space much easier. And you know, the smoke is scary. On B, you're just gonna want to throw the normal smoke in front of B, just like that, perfectly fine. So you want to throw this long smoke typically. Like most people are going to be playing solo C. If you're playing Omen, you're going to be playing solo C sometimes. Usually it's going to be like a Ascent, but like sometimes they rotate. So if you're on your site by yourself playing C, putting this long smoke is kind of useless if they're fast hitting. So say for example, a Neon's just running up. There's no point in throwing this smoke on long because they're just going to disrespect it anyway. The Neon's going to take space and then kill you, and now you have a waste of smoke. Or if they don't kill you, you just wasted a smoke, and now the retake's gonna take longer. If you're gonna throw a smoke, just throw a smoke here. It gives you enough time to delay because they're scared of the smoke and don't want to just absolutely disrespect that smoke and get shit on. So it gives you enough time to either get out, or you can play in the smoke. They try to disrespect the smoke, you catch them on while their pants are down, and you get a free pick. And then you get a couple kills maybe. So yeah, it just depends. If they're playing a bit slower, then you do want to do the long smoke since they're gonna have to use a bunch of util. Or if you have your teammates fast rotating in, then you can throw this smoke and that'll be perfectly fine. Like when you hear a Jet dash, then you kind of want to pop it. When you hear a drone, then you want to pop it. As soon as the drone starts coming out of the smoke, they're gonna start hitting most likely. Or once they start going to you, they're gonna start hitting. So then you want to throw your blind. And it's the same thing for C. If you're playing C, when you hear a Jet dash, Jet dashes are going to go in only a couple spots. They're going to go on top, they're going to go onto default, or they're going to go onto plat. So if you just throw your blind towards long, it's going to stall them, and you can easily stall for a good like extra 5 seconds. There's one agent you should be using, and that is Viper. Harbor's okay, but Viper is better. Now we're going to start with smokes on A. So in lower ranks, I'd say anything below I Immortal is you just might as well throw this A smoke or this A wall that covers CT. The reason that people typically won't use it the higher you go is because the only thing it blocks is here. So if I turn it on, the only thing it blocks is screens. Now when you're scaling, they can just disrespect this smoke. It's really not, it's just not threatening. It doesn't help you from anything. The reason that people want you to throw this wall is typically so they don't have to think about it too much, just in case someone is just setting screens as they walk up. But if you use util properly and scale properly, you wouldn't need this wall, and you probably shouldn't throw it in the first place. Now for on B, it doesn't really matter. You kind of just want to aim towards the top right corner, typically top right corner, and it should be a perfectly fine wall. Like this corner right here, the wall should be good. He can peek out from here, but like whenever you're just trying to throw the wall, just aim the end of the wall at this corner right here, and it should just be a good enough wall. For orb lineups, you're typically going to want to throw a mid smoke. This is for your Viper or whoever wants to lurk mid, so you're going to want to aim at this little like white part right here, throw it, and then boom, it's right there. It lets you cross and do everything you want. The reason you want to throw it from right here is because you can just throw it, forget about it, and start going to A. If you say, for example, threw it from this like little arrow right here, you line it up right here, throw it from the corner, then it's just gonna, it takes longer to do that and then get back to where you're supposed to go. For defense is pretty easy as well. Just throw your wall. You're gonna want to have it kind of diagonal, right in the middle. Boom, throw it like that. This is a good one. Boom. For B, then you're just going to set up your orb like this. Gonna fly through the sky. It's gonna land right here. The reason you want to throw this orb is because you can play towards B. You put this orb up and start taking damage. Play your molly, delays the plant. That's all that it is for. To delay plant, and then to maybe cross to yellow so you guys can retake properly. Other than that, you should just be doing these two smokes every time. Simple as that. This map is more about taking fights and winning the big brawl that happens. Now the main smoke agent that you probably want to use on Lotus is Omen. That's because of the blind. The blind is broken. It covers so much area. For like hitting A, you can smoke this left side. If you're like going through tree, you can smoke the right side. You can smoke the whole of the middle of that site. If you're like fighting A, you can start in breakable, and just blind this entire area and stop them from pushing. Now we're gonna be starting on attack of Lotus. This is gonna be extremely easy as well. So when this wall goes down, obviously the first place you want to smoke is typically going to be on stairs. Make sure the edge is of course not fully out. The reason you want to do this is because you don't want to be crossing, have your teammate crossing and then fighting this area and then playing stairs, because it's just such a weird angle. Another smoke you can do depending on what you do, so like say if you want to B split, then you would want to probably smoke right here. The reason you want to do that is because you don't want to even entertain taking the fight towards A. There's no real point. You take the A space, you break the door, and now you can do a B split. Or you could easily just do this smoke, break door, and then fake to C. There's a lot you could do, but you would want to put the smoke so you don't entertain A. They have to either push out, or they just stay there and then retake the B site when you do a B split. Other than that, say you're taking A space, you want to be very aware of this smoke as you're taking A, because people really like peeking out of here. So like typically you would be the one to do so. You can just blind from right here, blind left side, and then hold the smoke as your teammates are crossing out, because they like taking that timing. When you're on side, then you want to just smoke on top of heaven so they don't have to deal with this annoying angle. Make sure you smoke it correctly. Make sure to smoke top side correctly, because you do not want this area to be like, people really like standing right here. So if you smoke it correctly as your teammates are scaling back site, then they can take this space easier. The only other smokes you want to use is right here on the post plant. So say if you have full sight and you have heaven control, then you just want to have this smoke down so they can't really do anything. Now if you don't have heaven control, it's just very dependent on where you know the enemy is and where your teammates are positioned. You can continue smoking heaven if you want to, but I would just recommend typically doing this as you're playing tree. Now for B is really easy. You smoke here, smoke ceiling, and then you smoke heaven. Simple as that. The reason you don't really smoke breakable is because this angle is really easy to just fight and take the fights with. and it's just not as surprising, and the elevation's not as annoying as heaven. And then like the timing window for C-Link is just much more annoying, and dealing with this angle right here, such a small narrow way, it's just easier to deal with typically. And like you can use util to clear it out as well. Now lastly for C, you just smoke of course CT, and then you can smoke long right there, or not long, water right there. Other smokes that you can put down can be very dependent. Like you can smoke right here and hold this air. You can smoke right there and hold this angle when they're trying to retake, and then your whole team holds right here and they have to dry swing through the smoke. You can do that. But honestly there's not really any other smokes that I can think of properly. Now as we switch on to defense, of course you're going to be smoking right here on the main, on the choke point. Make sure the smoke is like on the edge. I didn't really do it perfectly, but you know what I'm talking about. And the only other smoke that you may want to use is right here. You may want to put it out a bit more, but the reason you would want to use the smoke is because of this angle right here. Now the people who are out main cannot see you, but the people who come in, it's just a surprising angle to take and to fight, and it helps you isolate an angle, and then you can probably like TP out or just run away. It's also pretty solid to kind of just retake with, because you can isolate this fight, or they just can't see you as you're walking out, and then main can't see you as you're walking out, and then you can take these fights for free, continue taking these fights. And then for your teammates who are in CT, they can just come out here, and the people right here cannot see them. Now for B, you're mainly just going to be smoking the choke. I've never seen anybody else smoke. Now for A, you're going to be smoking right here.
Cover going out.
When they're entering the site, smoke here, and then you could either smoke over here. I don't know if you can one way up on top of the door anymore. You may be able to. Or like if you're taking A space, if you do take A space, then you would want to smoke the entrance. Especially if the enemy team is fighting it consistently, it helps you get the A space. You guys can rotate now to B, have someone hold A main, and keep the space like that. Some people have smoke like here. I would say this is a very nuanced smoke. I think it helps them more than it does help you though, because they just get to take this entire space for free. Say they would just walk and you're not really holding properly, and then they walk here and then they start exploding out when the smoke goes down. Kind of annoying. So I would only smoke here, smoke here, and then here. Now the most common smoke agent you're going to be using on Pearl is Astra. In my brain, it's the best controller agent, strictly because Omen blinds aren't as good on this map, as well as the fact that it's a lot more off-site heavy when you're playing post plant, and then the suck and the stun are really good for it, as well as like the retractable smokes, being able to fake out and just being able to put your smokes wherever you want. It just allows a lot more options on this map compared to Omen. We're going to be starting on B, I guess, because I just drifted over here. So I watch Xander when I play Astra, because honestly I'm not like an Astra connoisseur. So from what I noticed, typically is he puts 2 smokes down on attack, puts one right here, and then he puts one right here. Now my brain, if I want to analyze this, typically it's just because you really do want to negate the information that the people on long and A main are getting, because typically people are going to be fighting one of these 2 areas. So if they fight A main, this smoke kind of stops them from disrespecting the space, and so you guys can easily take it. It just depends. You can easily just put it here for pressure, or you can fake smoke it. I didn't really see him do it too much. Or you can fully smoke it so they don't disrespect the smoke. You take A main for free. You know, you pull this smoke back, you take this space a little bit, and they don't know what the fuck is happening. So like, it's just a lot. It's a lot that can help do. Now there's probably more reasons to do it, a very basic analysis from my brain to why he's doing so, but I could be entirely wrong. Now for B, the main thing I see him do, so there's 2 areas you can smoke. You can smoke right here and right here. Oh, you're always going to be smoking heaven, so you can smoke here and then heaven. The reason you do this is so this area is smoked off, and as your teammates are scaling into backside, they're not getting shot from under here. But there's also a smoke as you can smoke heaven, and then you could smoke link,
covering it.
you know, and then you just have to be aware of this link push, or not this link push, the underpass peak. Now personally I like smoking. So there's a one way for the under area and then heaven, because you can also just like put down piece of util and stun it, or your teammates can use like a vice thorn or any other kind of util to stall them from pushing this area and fighting you. As well as just the crosser placement in just this area is just a lot easier to fight sometimes, but they're both pretty, like it just depends on what your teammates want. So if you like do this default smoke, do these two default smokes, and they don't like it, your teammates complain, just do these two smokes, and you're just really doing what your teammates want so they don't get angry with you. So you're going to be doing these two smokes, typically at least doing this smoke and then taking it back at the beginning of the round is what you do, but Xander does both, but mainly focus on this smoke. Then if you're say hitting mid, you're doing like a B split, then you're either gonna smoke this area off right here just so you can default and get into link, or not if you're B splitting, but like if you're taking mid, you're taking what the fuck is this called, you're taking link, then you can smoke there so the people from this angle cannot see you as you're walking through link. Or you can just smoke off here so you guys can take the link space easier. You just have to be very, very aware of them peeking out of this area, and then you smoke heaven for your teammates, and then you take sight as if you're B splitting. Now if you're say gonna go A through mid, you do the same smoke over there, and then you can smoke right here as well, and smoke right here so you guys can cross easier, your teammates hold that. And then the other two spots you're going to be smoking is either here or secret. So you can easily smoke right here, or you can easily smoke right here. Depends on what your teammates want. Typically, I'm going to default to smoking flowers. What you're going to do when hitting A, just straight up, you're just going to be smoking flowers. You can smoke it like this. That's what I personally like doing. And then you smoke art. You smoke art, and then you smoke flowers. Just be aware of the secret peek. Be aware of where he can peek, and then you're just gonna be planting right here, wherever you want to plant. You can also smoke secret kind of like this, so they don't disrespect the smoke and you just know where to pre-aim. Other than that, there's not really many other smokes. I have seen the smoke on top of here. Reason being is that they cannot see secret, and say if you're retaking from B and this Astro throws here, you can cross right here. It's a pretty solid smoke. Now let's go on to defense, the defense smokes. So you're going to be smoking right here. Now when I watch Xander, he does the three same smokes. He starts on A, he does this, I believe this, and right here. Now the reason he does this, that's a smoke that can be used as a smoke as your teammates are watching art and they're doing an art push, and this is usually going to be used for a suck if they're pushing mid, and it just deters them. Your teammates can fight from C, and then your teammates can fight from right here. Now the reason he probably doesn't put it on B is because there's usually a sentinel playing there, like a vise, so it can delay long enough. Say with a wall, you put the smokes down, and then you can put the last two stars, you take the 3 stars you've placed down at the beginning of the round back, and then you can use your smoke suck combo on B like that. Wow, I literally just explained everything you do. Now we're gonna move on to split and where to smoke on split and how to play this game. Now the recommended controllers are any of the controllers honestly that just aren't Harbor and Viper. Yes, you'll see Viper comps and in comp, or not in comp, in rank, not ranked, in pro play. That's usually the secondary controller, but don't do that in ranked unless you have a really coordinated team, and that's really only in higher ranks, and even then it's not going to be coordinated enough for you to just like forego a sentinel. So just use one smoker and just like the normal smoke agents, please. But in my opinion, I like playing Omen, but Astra works, Clove, Brim can work if you properly play around it. But yeah, so when you're attacking on B, there's going to be a couple spots to smoke. You're going to be smoking on Heaven, of course, like that, and then you're going to be smoking CT. This is fine as well. Sometimes you can also smoke like right here. That can be helpful. Maybe not like that exactly, but you can smoke like that. I wouldn't recommend it personally. This is more of like a side smoke that you would put on defense, but for certain circumstances it could work. Or you could also throw a smoke on top of new box right here. This can also kind of work as well. But Of course, it's just very nuanced when you would use it. I would probably use this more like when you already have sight and you don't want heaven, you kind of want to cross, you don't want like people dropping down, like it's kind of a one-way for rope. Now if you're say gonna hit mid, typically you're going to want to smoke one of these two chokes, whether that's vents or that is stairs. It depends on what you're doing. So if you want to hit A, like an A split, then you would smoke ramps or stairs or mail. It's called mail. Holy. Or if you wanted to hit B, you would smoke vents. As you're doing that, you smoke vents, and then you either smoke CT or you would probably end up smoking right here. It just depends. Like you probably have like a Cypher, and Cypher would probably Cypher would cage this off instead. But if you do not, then I would just say smoke it and then worry about taking this fight when you hit it, or having your teammates who are going through main take that space and fight. That's all I would say for mid. Now for A can be nuanced. So like if you're playing Cypher, you would cage this off. I'm gonna consider that a smoke you would use. You'd probably cage this off, you would smoke heaven, and then you would smoke CT. Depending on how your duelists are, so like say if your duelist you have just Arena or like a Phoenix, I would say smoking heaven first is typically just your most important goal. Now just be very aware of this peak in the front of the smoke. You want to have the smoke on heaven to be outward. The reason you want this to happen is because people really like fighting outside of the smoke on heaven and flashing out, and so it's very predictable for you for them to peek out right here and have your crosshair placement, so you would have a higher chance of winning that fight. That's why you'd want to be outward. If you didn't have it outward, it'd be like this, and then the way they would peek out, they can peek right here or they can peek to the left, as I can show you. Like you can just peek right here or you can peek right here, but if it's outwards, you can only peek right here and I'd get instantly headshotted. For defense on A, a lot of people will smoke CT, or not CT, they'll smoke main like this. Now at the start of the round, if you can, I would recommend smoking it like here. The reason you want to smoke it right there is because if you're playing sight, you can see the cross right here, and when they come out of the smoke, you can easily kill them. They're going through a smoke, so now they're kind of like disorganized, or not disorganized, they're disoriented a little bit. As well as you kind of have a cross with your teammate. You have a cross with your teammate who's on ramp. So this ramp guy is looking, the guy on site is looking, so you can just easily take this fight. Now once they start hitting the site, you would then smoke main. The other smoke you would do is you're going to be smoking tower as well. This is if they're trying to take tower space. You can do this smoke and then hold it. If they are on site and you want to play, you want to have your teammates on site with smokes, then you can smoke right here. It just helps you play around this area a bit more. As you're coming around, you can just peek right here, take this fight, go over here, take this fight. This smoke also, like, it's very obvious that it's a side smoke and they're going to be playing there. Like your the defensive players are going to play there, so you can easily peek from over here on a timing. It's just to help your teammates. Now if you're retaking A, I like throwing this smoke on top of map because it kind of just stops people from peeking this left and right side. It makes them a little bit scared. There's that, or you could smoke main as well. But that's what I would recommend. I usually just throw this map smoke typically. Anyway, for mid, you're just going to be smoking in the middle right here. This should be a pretty easy smoke. This ult part's going to be a little open, but you can't really fully smoke this area typically. So just smoking mid, that's the only real smoke you're typically going to use unless you're fighting. And if you're going to be fighting, then you're probably going to smoke right here, you're going to smoke like right up here, or maybe even leave like that. Now for B, like I said, you're going to only smoke in main. You're going to be smoking main, and then you can smoke right here for like your teammate if they're getting the sight hit, or like if you kind of want to retake and take this space right here. Another one that people are doing in pro play is right up top right here, I believe. Shadows traveling. This is good as well. It's kind of a little one way. They can't see you. I see that in pro play, but most of the time you're just going to be smoking right on top, right back. We're gonna start on B since that's the first thing my brain went to. So there's going to be a couple smokes. You're going to smoke right here, like this. The reason you want it to be out is because somebody will be playing in this corner. And if they're playing in this corner, they can't get a free kill on the people coming out. And so this will block them out. You can also scale and then easily shoot right here in such a predictable spot, and they can't do anything about that. Now there's a couple spots you can do. For the second smoke, you can do right here. This kind of stops you from going back sight, scaling back sight. I would say use this more on like an eco round, so you have a shotgun or stinger, and then you can take this fight, and then you can start taking this fight. But typically you would be smoking back here, so your teammates can take backside space much more easily. Now when you have sight and you're playing like post plant, then you would want to smoke market like this, because you do not want them to get this space right here for free. Now for mid, of course, it's just going to be the basic smoke on top mid. I don't think you really need to go over anything. There's no other unique smokes. You're not really going to be smoking this off unless you really need to, and you're going to be going for like a mid play, but even then you wouldn't want to smoke it because they're going to be closing this door. If you're going to go through mid, just don't shoot the door. Now for A is really simple. You're going to be smoking right here, and then you're going to be smoking here. Now if your teammates are not going A link, I would say just smoke on this angle instead, because if you're all going through elbow, then it's kind of pointless smoking this, because it's supposed to let these people aim in and be able to take the space. Now for defense, you're going to be smoking right here, and then you're gonna do a big smoke right here. This is a little one way for A main, and then this is just to stop them from going through elbow. Really simple. I'm sure you've seen it in your games or in higher level play, but a lot of people don't know for some reason sometimes, especially in lower ranks, which is this, of course, this is what is focused towards. Now if there's a side smoke you're going to be throwing, there's no real other side smoke you're gonna like toss up, in my opinion. Typically you wouldn't really want to play on site on A too much. You kind of just play retake more often than not. Now of course you can smoke mid like this, or you could be smoking mid like this if you're fighting it. Very simple, very simple. And then for B, there's a couple things you can do. If they break door and you know they're hitting through mid, then you can smoke, and then you can just smoke right here. Now for a side smoke, then you can smoke on this stair area and then keep the backside space. It kind of gets them scared. They have to use util, blase. Another smoke, sometimes I use like a cipher cage right here for like the trips and stuff, but I wouldn't recommend this smoke if you're just like, you know, playing a controller. But you can probably find a use for it in a game every now and then. Other than that, you're not really going to be using any other smokes. You could do this little one way right here if you hear a main and hold like this, but if they're going really fast, you might get overwhelmed. Other than that, there's no real smokes you're going to be using. That's about it for sunset.